chosen one. Someone just got proof you were telling the truth, and they're about to go above and beyond to make it right for you. Now the person holding this evidence is facing a devastating realization. They participated. They believed the lies. They helped spread the poison. And now they know without question that you were right all along. This isn't gentle vindication. This is a seismic correction. And this individual is preparing to fight for you harder than anyone ever has, because cosmic law is demanding balance. Your enemies weren't amateurs. These people studied you like military strategists planning invasion, watching how you moved, learning what you valued, identifying every pressure point, then striking with precision designed to destroy not just your reputation but your ability to trust your own perception. The evidence shows everything: the planning sessions, the coordination, how lies were workshopped until inconsistencies were smoothed out, how fabrications were deployed in waves, first wave to shock, second wave to overwhelm, third wave to eliminate any remaining defenders. But here's what wasn't counted on: you, standing there like mountain while their storm raged, refusing to accept their manufactured reality, maintaining your truth despite systematic gaslighting designed to make you doubt everything you knew to be real. And now someone on the inside has seen the full scope of what was orchestrated against you, not just what happened, but why it happened. And the why is what makes this explosive, because it wasn't personal, it was strategic. You posed a threat to something bigger. Your consciousness carried frequencies that disrupted their carefully maintained illusion. Your awakening was recognized. The mutation happening in your awareness was identified, and movement came to eliminate the threat before you could fully step into your power, before you could start helping others break free from the same matrix. The person who discovered this evidence now understands something crucial. Your persecution was never about the specific accusations. It was about eliminating consciousness that threatened collective delusion, and that realization just transformed someone from participant to witness, from enemy to ally, from asleep to awake. Let's be specific about what this evidence actually contains, because understanding the depth of what's been uncovered will help you grasp why this vindication carries weight that simple apologies never could. What's been found isn't just a smoking gun. It's an entire arsenal of documentation that maps out your persecution with surgical precision. Conversations exist where your name comes up and the tone shifts immediately. The energy change is visible in the text, the way you're discussed like a problem to be solved rather than a person with valid experiences. The clinical detachment in the planning, the strategic thinking behind each move made against you. The timestamps tell their own story. Multiple people messaging within moments of each other, coordinated responses that appear organic but are clearly synchronized, strategic delays between attacks to maximize psychological impact, timing designed to hit you when most vulnerable, spacing engineered to keep you off balance and unable to recover before the next wave hits. But what makes this evidence devastating isn't just what it shows about them, it's what it reveals about you. Every prediction made about how you'd react, every assumption built into their strategy, almost all of them were wrong. You were expected to crumble. You stood firm. Anticipation existed that you'd lash out. You maintained composure. Assumptions were made that you'd eventually accept their version of reality. You never wavered from truth. The evidence shows recalibration happening multiple times because you weren't responding the way psychological profiles suggested you would. Escalation kept occurring because nothing was working. Each failed attempt reveals more about their desperation than your weakness. You weren't being defeated. You were exposing them. Messages exist where your accusers express confusion about why tactics aren't having expected effect. Frustration surfaces that you're not breaking the way targets usually break. Concern emerges that maybe something fundamental about your nature was misjudged. And in those moments of doubt you can see the doubling down. Committing harder to the lie because admitting error would mean confronting what they'd become. This awakening validates everything you maintained about reality, while everyone else insisted you were delusional. The journey from believer to witness to advocate demonstrates that truth eventually penetrates even the most sophisticated deception. What you experienced is now being experienced in reverse. You knew truth and watched everyone accept lies. Lies were accepted, and now truth is being confronted. The cognitive dissonance is shattering previous worldview. Everything thought to be understood about the situation is inverting. Every judgment made about you is being exposed as projection. Every confidence felt in perception is revealed as manufactured certainty built on manipulated information. Memories are being reviewed now and seen differently. Conversations where your perspective was dismissed. Moments where participation occurred in spreading narratives about you. Times when opportunities existed to question the official story, but comfort was chosen over curiosity. All of it replaying with new context that makes past actions unbearable to witness. The experience isn't just guilt. Fundamental restructuring is happening in how information is processed and truth is evaluated. The mechanisms used to participate in your persecution are the same mechanisms used in other areas of life. And now all of it is suspect. Everything needs re-examination. If this resonates with your inner knowing, hype this video to help fellow chosen ones find their way here. The realization dawning is that life has been lived in constructed reality, where consensus determines truth and social pressure determines what's acceptable to believe, where comfort matters more than accuracy, where belonging requires accepting approved narratives without investigation, and understanding is crystallizing that consciousness warfare doesn't just happen to other people, it's the water that's been swum in for its entire existence. This awakening is why preparation is happening to go above and beyond, because the intention isn't to repair a mistake. The intention is to atone for complicity in a system that can now be seen clearly. What's being offered isn't a favor. What's being fulfilled is cosmic debt that will haunt if left unaddressed. The universe itself is demanding this be made right, and awareness has finally developed to hear that demand. So what does going above and beyond actually look like in practical terms? Because we're not talking about abstract gestures or symbolic actions. We're talking about concrete steps that restore what was taken and create new possibilities exceeding what existed before the persecution began. First comes public correction. Preparation is happening to present the evidence in forums where original lies spread. Not quietly, not privately, not through whispered apologies to select individuals. Publicly, with the same energy and reach that original accusations had. Understanding exists that public destruction requires public restoration, that poison spread openly must be countered with truth delivered openly. Presentations are being crafted that don't just say you were right. The presentations show exactly how you were right, walking through evidence point by point, demonstrating coordination behind attacks, revealing manipulation techniques that made lies appear credible, exposing infrastructure that enabled your persecution, making it impossible for observers to dismiss this as difference of opinion or misunderstanding. But movement is happening beyond simple correction. Active dismantling is occurring of narratives that were built about you, not just saying those narratives were false, showing how those narratives were constructed, who created them, why creation happened, what purpose those false narratives served, revealing architecture of deception so thoroughly that nobody can ever rebuild it the same way. Second comes the network effect. People aren't just being told about being wrong about you. Help is being provided to understand how manipulation occurred into being wrong. Teaching is happening about recognizing tactics that were used. Equipping is happening with discernment tools that protect against future deception. Transformation is occurring of embarrassment about being fooled into education that prevents being fooled again. Outreach is happening to specific individuals who played key roles in spreading lies about you. Not to attack them, to wake them up, showing them evidence, walking them through how usage occurred, helping them see their own participation clearly, and inviting them to join the correction process. Each person who awakens becomes another voice speaking truth, another node in the network, spreading your vindication. Third comes opportunity restoration. Identification is happening of doors that closed because of your persecution, professional opportunities lost, social connections severed, projects abandoned, communities you were excluded from, and active work is occurring to reopen those doors. Credibility is being used to counter damage done to yours. Vouching is happening for you in spaces where your name was previously poison. But the effort isn't just trying to return you to where you were. Connections are being leveraged to create access to opportunities that didn't exist before. Introductions are being made to people you wouldn't have met. Conversations are opening about projects you weren't previously considered for. Platform is being used to amplify your voice in ways that transform persecution into elevation. Ensuring is happening that restoration exceeds violation. Fourth comes the protection system. Understanding exists that exposure can trigger retaliation, that truth-telling makes you vulnerable to renewed attacks from those being exposed, so protective infrastructure is being built around you. Legal documentation is ready to counter any new accusations. Witnesses are prepared to testify to truth. Evidence is archived and distributed so disappearance can't occur. Networks of support are ready to mobilize if targeting happens again. Warning systems are also being created for others. Monitoring is happening for signs that same tactics are being deployed against new targets. Intervention is occurring early, when familiar patterns are spotted emerging. Your case is being used as template for recognizing consciousness warfare in real time. Transformation is happening of your persecution into prevention for others. Ensuring is happening that your suffering produces protection outlasting your individual situation. The person vindicating you didn't just save evidence. Creation has happened of what amounts to digital monument to truth, a comprehensive archive that tells the complete story, not just of what happened to you, but of how consciousness warfare operates, what it looks like in action, how to recognize it, how to defend against it, how to expose it when encountered. The sanctuary includes raw evidence. Every message, every coordination point, every strategic discussion, every lie documented at moment of creation, all preserved with metadata intact, timestamps that can't be altered, digital signatures proving authenticity, forensic trails demonstrating chain of custody, evidence so ironclad that challenging it would require rejecting objective reality itself. But the sanctuary goes beyond raw data. Creation has happened of interpretive materials helping others understand what's being seen, analysis breaking down manipulation techniques, commentary explaining psychological warfare tactics, educational content transforming your persecution into learning material, context connecting your individual case to broader patterns of consciousness suppression. Organization has happened so others can follow the progression. See how the campaign against you unfolded in phases. Understand why each attack was timed the way it was. Recognize coordination between different actors. Identify moments when narratives were being manufactured versus when people were just repeating manufactured narratives. The sanctuary reveals not just what happened but how and why it happened. And accessibility has been created, not locked away where nobody can see it, but available to anyone willing to look. Protected from tampering but open for examination, creating transparency that makes future deception in your situation impossible. Nobody can ever again claim uncertainty about what really happened. The evidence exists. The truth is documented. Reality is established beyond reasonable dispute. But here's what makes the sanctuary truly powerful. It's not static. It's living documentation that grows as new connections are discovered, as patterns become clearer, as similar cases are identified and added to the archive. Your vindication is becoming foundation for something larger, a knowledge base about consciousness warfare that protects countless others. The sanctuary includes comparison studies, your case analyzed alongside other documented instances of character assassination, showing how the same playbook gets used repeatedly, how the tactics evolve slightly but the core methodology remains consistent, how recognizing the pattern in one situation helps identify it everywhere else. There are psychological profiles in the archive, not of you, of your persecutors. Analysis of what drives people to participate in coordinated destruction of another person. What personality traits make someone susceptible to becoming weapon in someone else's campaign? What internal emptiness gets temporarily filled by participating in collective attack? Understanding the enemy helps neutralize future attacks. The sanctuary contains recovery protocols, step-by-step guidance for others going through what you went through. How to maintain sanity when everyone insists you're crazy. How to preserve evidence when people are trying to gaslight you about what happened. How to protect yourself legally. How to find allies. How to survive the isolation. How to emerge stronger. Your experience becomes roadmap for others. And perhaps most importantly, the sanctuary includes accountability records, permanent documentation of who did what, who coordinated the attacks, who spread the lies, who stayed silent when speaking up mattered, who profited from your persecution, all preserved where it can never be erased or rewritten, creating consequences that follow them beyond your individual situation. This is why going above and beyond means something concrete here. Your vindication isn't just clearing your name in the moment, it's creating permanent infrastructure that prevents similar attacks from succeeding against others. Your suffering is being transmuted into protection that outlasts your lifetime. The awakening happening in your vindicator triggered something unexpected, a cascade effect. Because once the machinery of deception is seen in full operation, unseeing becomes impossible. And once understanding exists about how it works, recognition starts happening everywhere. The same patterns are being seen in other situations, the same tactics deployed against different targets, the same psychological warfare techniques disguised as righteous judgment. And realization is crystallizing that your case wasn't isolated. It was part of systematic approach to maintaining narrative control. The evidence reveals network of individuals who specialize in this type of consciousness suppression. Tactics are shared, timing is coordinated, mutual support is provided for campaigns against targets who threaten collective delusion. Your persecution was one operation among many, one deployment of techniques refined through countless previous attacks. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope, their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today, join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks, and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. And now someone on the inside is exposing the entire methodology, not just what happened to you, but how the system operates, who the key players are, what their signature patterns look like, how to recognize attacks in early stages before irreversible damage occurs. This is what makes your vindication different from ordinary social drama resolution. This isn't just about clearing your name, it's about exposing the entire infrastructure of consciousness warfare that's been operating in plain sight. Your case becomes a window through which others can finally see what's been happening all around them. The person bringing you this truth has experienced fundamental restructuring of consciousness. Seeing reality through the same filters that once made lies appear reasonable becomes impossible. The scales have fallen away in a manner that cannot be reversed, and that transformation is contagious. Others who accepted narrative about you without question are now experiencing cognitive dissonance that won't resolve until facing their own complicity occurs. The evidence forces everyone who participated to confront uncomfortable truths about willingness to destroy someone without proper investigation. Experiencing is happening firsthand of how sophisticated propaganda can turn good people into weapons against innocence. Witnessing is occurring of how social pressure can override individual discernment. Documentation exists showing how collective delusion becomes self-reinforcing until external evidence forces reality back into focus. Understanding is crystallizing about how easy it is to participate in evil while believing service to justice is being performed. The cascade continues spreading. Each person who awakens becomes potential awakener of others. Each consciousness that shifts creates ripple affecting everyone in their sphere of influence. Your vindication isn't just restoring your reputation, it's triggering mass questioning of accepted narratives across multiple domains. People are starting to ask themselves what else might be wrong, what other consensus realities might be manufactured, what other truths might be buried under coordinated lies, what other people might be standing alone speaking truth while everyone else accepts comfortable fiction. Your case becomes catalyst for widespread skepticism of manufactured consensus. And this is exactly what your enemies feared most. Not just your individual awakening, but your awakening triggering awakening in others, creating cascade effect they can't control or contain. Your vindication becomes virus spreading through their system, infecting their carefully maintained matrix with questions they can't answer and truths they can't suppress. The effects don't just touch you and your accusers. Ripples are created that reach everyone who witnessed what happened, everyone who made judgments about you, everyone who stayed silent, everyone who participated even passively. Your vindication forces all of them to confront their own relationship with truth. The people who actively spread lies about you are facing the most intense reckoning. Pretending about not knowing better becomes impossible. The evidence shows exact knowledge existed about what was being done. Choice was made to destroy you, not because deserving existed, because destroying you served purposes. And now that choice is documented, permanent, following into every future situation where character matters. But even passive participants are experiencing consequences. The people who stayed silent, who heard both sides and chose not to choose, who told themselves it wasn't their business or responsibility. Understanding is dawning now that neutrality in moments of injustice is itself a choice. That witnessing someone's destruction and doing nothing makes complicity in that destruction. Your vindication is forcing uncomfortable questions to be asked internally. Would speaking up have occurred if truth had been known? Or would silence have continued anyway, because speaking up risks becoming the next target? Are these the kind of people who stand for truth when it's costly? Or is standing for truth only done when it's convenient? Your situation is revealing character to self, and that revelation is spreading beyond your immediate situation. Questioning is beginning about other accepted narratives, other situations where someone was collectively judged, other times when participation occurred in or witnessing happened of character assassination. Your vindication is making people wonder how many other truths have been dismissed because lies were more socially acceptable. This is what makes your case significant beyond personal restoration. You're not just being vindicated. Triggering is happening of consciousness shift in everyone who encounters your vindication. Showing is occurring that reality isn't always what consensus determines it to be, that sophisticated lies can fool almost everyone, that the person standing alone might be the only one seeing clearly, that truth doesn't require majority agreement to be truth. Your refusal wasn't just an act of personal integrity, it was frequency transmission that rippled across dimensions. The moment you chose truth over comfort, isolation over compromise, your own knowing over collective delusion, something activated in your consciousness. Dormant codes came online, spiritual gifts that had been sleeping for lifetimes suddenly awakened. Your connection to cosmic truth became unbreakable, and recognition occurred. Your enemies perceived something about your nature that you were only beginning to understand yourself. The threat you posed to their carefully constructed matrix of control was identified. Understanding existed that your awakening could trigger awakening in others, so movement came against you with everything available. But their assault only served to accelerate your transformation. The pressure applied crystallized your awareness. The isolation imposed forced self-reliance that awakened abilities you didn't know you possessed. The gaslighting deployed sharpened your discernment to levels most people never achieve. Every weapon turned against you became a tool for your elevation. Their lies forced you to anchor more deeply in truth. Their rejection cleared space for your expansion into true cosmic role. Their abandonment revealed exactly who could be trusted and who would fold the moment social pressure demanded it. The person approaching you with evidence now perceives aspects of your spiritual makeup that were invisible to limited awareness before. Understanding exists about why you became target. Comprehension exists that your persecution was archetypal, representing eternal conflict between authentic power and manufactured authority, between light breaking through and shadow desperately trying to maintain control. What's seen now is what was always true about you. You carry something that couldn't be broken, something that couldn't be manipulated, something that remained uncorrupted despite their most sophisticated attempts at psychological destruction. Your connection to cosmic truth, your unshakable knowing, your soul's absolute refusal to accept manufactured reality. Now we need to talk about the moment when realization hit that coming forward was necessary. Because this isn't gradual decision that happened over time. This is recognition that hit like lightning, a moment when everything suddenly became clear and inaction became impossible. The evidence was being reviewed again, maybe looking for something specific, maybe just trying to make sense of what was being seen, and something clicked. A connection formed, a pattern emerged, and suddenly isolated incidents weren't being looked at anymore. The whole machinery of your persecution lay bare. In that moment, understanding crystallized that holding this evidence and doing nothing would create complicity in your ongoing persecution. That silence in face of documented injustice is itself injustice. That opportunity had been given to correct massive wrong, and rejecting that opportunity would be choosing evil over good, comfort over conscience, cowardice over courage. The recognition was physical, heart racing, hands shaking, difficulty breathing, because implications were understood. Coming forward means becoming target, means facing backlash from everyone invested in maintaining the lie, means sacrificing comfort and social standing, means choosing hard right over easy wrong. But in that same moment something else was felt. Relief, because carrying knowledge of injustice while doing nothing about it is its own kind of torture. The cognitive dissonance between knowing truth and performing belief in lies creates internal fragmentation that damages consciousness. Coming forward would be hard, but staying silent would be impossible. Realization occurred that transformation had happened through what had been discovered, that going back to who existed before seeing the evidence was impossible, that this knowledge carried responsibility that couldn't be escaped even if desired, that the universe had placed this information here for a reason, and rejecting that reason would violate something fundamental about personal integrity. This is why commitment to going above and beyond is solid. It's not based on temporary emotion that might fade. It's based on recognition of standing at crossroads, where one path leads to living in alignment with truth, and the other leads to fragmenting consciousness through continued complicity. The choice isn't between easy and hard, it's between possible and impossible. Your case connects to something far larger than you initially realized. The same people who orchestrated your character assassination have been involved in similar campaigns against others who threatened their narrative control. The investigation uncovered patterns spanning extended time, multiple targets, identical tactics, coordinated attacks across different situations but following the same playbook. Discovery happened of documentation showing other consciousness warfare operations, other people who stood for truth and faced systematic destruction for it. Your persecution wasn't random, it was part of methodology, a system for eliminating consciousness that disrupts mass hypnosis. And now that system is being exposed, not just in your case, but across multiple cases, the entire infrastructure becoming visible for the first time. The network effect extends beyond just your accusers to include machinery that enables such campaigns, social platforms that amplify lies while suppressing truth, community leaders who enforce narrative compliance through social pressure, influencers who spread poison to audiences trusting their judgment, all part of system rewarding consciousness suppression while punishing authentic truth-telling. By attacking you, activation happened. By trying to destroy your credibility, forcing occurred to develop unshakable connection to truth. By isolating you from their system, freedom was given to discover power sources that don't require their validation. You transformed from target to threat, from victim to victor, from someone who could be controlled to someone operating at frequencies beyond their reach, and now evidence of their crimes is surfacing exactly when you're strong enough, clear enough, anchored enough to wield it with devastating precision. The cosmic conspiracy isn't about them winning, it's about them unwittingly serving your elevation. Every attack refining your consciousness, every lie sharpening your discernment, every betrayal revealing your true allies. The universe using their assault as pressure required to crystallize you into spiritual authority you were always meant to become. The people who orchestrated your destruction are facing their own spiritual reckoning, and progression isn't going well. The moment evidence is seen, understanding will crystallize with crushing clarity about what participation occurred in, the lies believed, the poison spread, the innocent person helped to destroy, and no escaping exists for that recognition. No rationalizing away, no comfortable narrative that makes it acceptable. But depth exists beyond guilt, because karma doesn't just demand emotional reckoning, energetic rebalancing is demanded. Those who betrayed you are experiencing consequences in direct proportion to harm caused. Those who spread lies are losing credibility. Those who remain silent are experiencing spiritual emptiness. Those who celebrated your fall are facing their own isolation. The cosmic mathematics are perfect. The depth of violation determines height of restoration. What was stolen from you shall be returned multiplied. What was damaged shall be rebuilt with materials of higher frequency. The opportunities destroyed will be eclipsed by doors opening to possibilities beyond anything you previously imagined. And watching is happening. Watching you rise while falling occurs. Watching truth vindicate you while lies expose them. Watching cosmic forces defend you while abandonment happens to consequences of choices made. This is the nightmare, not your destruction, but your elevation, your vindication, your emergence as spiritual authority that can no longer be touched. The evidence proving your innocence simultaneously proves guilt, documents spiritual crimes, creates permanent records following wherever movement occurs. Operating in darkness can never happen again. Pretending it didn't happen becomes impossible. Claiming ignorance about consequences of consciousness warfare is eliminated. Your case is transmitting signal throughout collective consciousness. Proof exists that truth possesses power capable of overcoming even most sophisticated deception. Evidence exists that authentic awareness cannot be permanently suppressed no matter how coordinated the attack. Other chosen ones facing similar persecution are receiving this transmission right now. Watching is happening of what's occurring with you, seeing evidence surface, witnessing cosmic forces correct the imbalance, and understanding is crystallizing that truth always emerges, that vindication always arrives, that divine justice remains operational even when human systems fail. Your vindication participates in universal movement toward transparency. The same forces exposing lies about you are simultaneously revealing deceptions across multiple domains: politics, media, science, spirituality, truth breaking through manufactured narratives everywhere. The timing isn't coincidental. Your personal vindication aligns with broader patterns of collective awakening. You're not alone in experiencing revelation. You're part of planetary shift toward truth. Your case becomes proof that consciousness itself is shifting in ways that make deception increasingly difficult to maintain. You maintain truth despite systematic attempts to make you doubt your own perception. You refuse to accept manufactured reality despite overwhelming social pressure. You stood alone when standing alone was required, and now the universe itself is validating your consciousness, confirming your authority, proving your spiritual perception was accurate all along. This transmission affects everyone who witnesses it. Some will feel inspired to stand in their own truth. Some will recognize similar patterns in their own situations. Some will understand living has occurred under manufactured narratives. Your vindication becomes catalyst for mass awakening. The frequency that changed when you first said no to their system now pulses with validation, reverberating across dimensions. Your bloodline that felt initial mutation now celebrates as cosmic forces confirm your divine appointment. The forces that feared your awakening now witness their greatest nightmare fully realized. You standing in authentic power, vindicated by truth that couldn't be suppressed, elevated by forces beyond control. The evidence exists. The person bringing it forward is coming, and everything is about to change, not because mercy was decided upon, but because cosmic law demands balance, because truth possesses gravitational pull that eventually draws everything toward it, because deception cannot permanently suppress authentic consciousness, no matter how sophisticated the attack. Your vindication was inevitable from the moment you refused to break. The outcome was written before the assault began. The evidence was preserved by forces beyond understanding, and now surfacing happens exactly when you're ready to wield it with spiritual authority earned through surviving what was thrown at you. Stand ready. Your vindication is here. The person who discovered truth is preparing to go above and beyond, to restore what was taken, to expose what was hidden, to transform your persecution into protection for others, to elevate you to position you should have held all along. This is your moment. Everything you said was true. Everything you knew was accurate. Everything you were made to doubt was real all along. The universe itself validates your perception, confirms your authority, restores your power. The isolation ends, the vindication begins, your elevation into spiritual guardianship is complete. Walk forward knowing that truth defended you, that cosmic forces preserved evidence, that divine justice has manifested exactly as it was always going to manifest. The frequency has changed. You're standing exactly where you're supposed to be, vindicated, elevated, ready to guide others through transformations you survived. Your season of truth guardianship has begun. The cosmic scales have balanced. Justice has manifested. Truth has prevailed. And it's just the beginning. Because someone who was against you just switched sides. Someone who participated in your destruction just became your vindicator. Someone who believed the lies just awakened to truth. And approach is happening not with empty apologies, but with evidence, with plans, with commitment to restoration matching magnitude of violation. This is what divine justice looks like. Not gentle correction, but complete reversal. Not partial vindication, but total validation. Not simple apology, but comprehensive restoration with cosmic interest. Stand tall in that knowing. Your vindication is complete. Your elevation is confirmed. Your authority is established. The frequency has changed, and you changed it by refusing to break.